Welcome to Joel Huahuisa's channel. My name is Valeria and this is my story. My life became something very difficult to bear ever since I had to go live with my paternal grandmother. Nobody warned me what that experience would be like, and by the time I found out for myself, it was already too late to escape. My grandmother's name is Carmen, and she has a mental condition called OCD, which stands for Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. This condition causes people to become extremely obsessed with something in particular, to the point where they can no longer live normally. In my grandmother's case, her obsession was the cleanliness of the house. There are people with OCD who wash their hands hundreds of times a day because they feel like they are never clean enough. Others shower repeatedly or cannot touch objects without disinfecting them first. These are behaviors that for them are completely impossible to control, even if they know deep down that they make no sense. But my grandmother Carmen's case was different. She was not obsessed with her own body, but with every single centimeter of her house. She cleaned walls, floors, ceilings, and furniture in a compulsive way, as if dirt were her greatest enemy. And unfortunately, I was the one who had to meet all of her demands. Every day when I came home from school, my grandmother had a list of cleaning tasks waiting for me. First, I had to mop all the floors with a specific product, then clean the walls with a different product, and each room required its own particular cleaning solution. It was exhausting both physically and mentally. When my grandmother came back from work, she inspected every corner of the house, one by one, with impressive attention to detail. She would kneel down, run her fingers along the edges of the furniture, and smell the surfaces to verify that I had used the correct product in each area. If she found even the smallest stain, she would order me to clean everything all over again from scratch. When she found no defects, instead of congratulating me kindly, she would say, "Even though you are clumsy and not worth much, this time you did it right. But don't get excited, because if I hadn't taught you, you never would have been able to do it." Those words hurt me deeply every single time I heard them. I did not always live with my grandmother Carmen. Before, I lived happily with my mother Lucia, who loved me and took care of me with all her heart. But my mother died when I was 8 years old due to an illness that slowly weakened her body. From that moment on, my father Roberto decided that the best thing was for me to go live with his mother, which meant living with my grandmother, Carmen. The only thing I have left of my mother is a photograph where she is smiling and looking at the camera. Thanks to that image, I can recognize her face when she appears in my dreams. I visit her grave whenever I can. I talk to her, I tell her my problems, and whenever I have to make an important decision, I always ask her. Then she comes to my dreams and gives me an answer. I know it sounds strange, but I sincerely believe that my mom is still watching over me from the other side. One day I overheard a very loud argument between my grandmother Carmen and my father Roberto. The bedroom door was slightly open, and I could hear them talking about going to jail over something related to money from the company where they both worked together. My father was yelling that he had acted that way because she had asked him to, and my grandmother was crying, saying they could not go to prison because then no one would take care of me. When the investigation moved forward and it became clear that both of them would be arrested, my grandmother Carmen convinced my father to take all the blame on his own. My father, in his official statement, said that my grandmother knew nothing and that he was the only one responsible for everything. The judge sentenced him to 6 years in prison. I was completely heartbroken and furious with my grandmother, but I had no one else to turn to. One day I gathered the courage to tell my grandmother that I wanted to go visit my mother's grave. She reacted in a cruel way, telling me there was no point in going since my mother's bones had probably already decomposed, and that the gravestone was not my mother, but just a rock with her name on it. Those words broke me from the inside. I started crying, and she pointed to the door telling me to go cry outside because she did not want me dirtying her house with my tears. I ran out without control, and that day I ran for almost 2 hours until I reached the cemetery. I hugged the gravestone crying and told my mom, "You are not just a rock, you are my dear mother." Right at that moment, while I was crying with my arms around my mother's grave, I heard a strange sound coming from the sky. When I looked up, I saw a bright object falling at great speed that landed about 30 meters away from me, leaving a crater in the ground with flames surrounding it. As I carefully approached, I saw it was a reddish-green stone, approximately the size of a small suitcase. It was a meteorite, a rock that had fallen directly from outer space. I grabbed a fragment, stored it between ice in my pockets, and headed back home. That night, I researched online what kind of stone it was and discovered it was jadeite, the second most expensive gem in the world, worth $3 million per carat. I calculated the weight of the fragment I had and realized that just that one piece was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And the complete meteorite was much larger. I had become a billionaire thanks to a gift that fell from the sky exactly when I needed it most, exactly when I was visiting my mom. I went to a jewelry store, sold a small piece, and the jeweler told me in amazement that he had never seen such a perfect jadeite in his entire life. With that money, I bought the company where my father and my grandmother worked, and as the new owner, I dropped all charges against my dad, Roberto. I hired the best lawyers in the country, and soon he was released from prison. Today, we live together in a big and peaceful house. I have not seen my grandmother Carmen since then. My father went only to hand her the divorce papers and told me she was still just as obsessed with cleaning, but now completely alone. At first she said horrible things about me, but when she found out I was a billionaire, her attitude changed completely. I gave her no opportunity. The only person who continues to be my guide and my protection is my mom, Lucia, who appears in my dreams every night to give me strength. She is my guardian angel, and I will love her forever.